We've got Andrea here behind the scenes. She looks like Devo back there with her fingers on this futuristic keyboard, you know?
It is a little bit of behind the scenes. And actually, we need to step up our game. So for the next episode, Andrea, you've got to remind me, you need to be mic'd up as well. Yeah, we don't necessarily have to go on camera, but every now and then they want to hear from you.
Andrea, do you know who Devo is?
She's going to tell you no.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she's gonna tell you no.
Oh, these youngsters.
Yeah, we had this conversation pretty much all day today and yesterday, and I keep referencing things, and she's looking at me. She's getting better. She's starting to pretend like she knows what I'm talking about. So.
It's for our benefit. It's for our poor souls, you know.
Right.
We're so sensitive.
Yes. Devo.
Yeah.
It's a band. So I'll anyway, what's the topic today?
Short-term, vacation, whatever rentals you want to call them.
Okay.
Their impact.
VRBOs, Airbnbs.
Positive, negatives,
Okay.
whatever. I know we talked about the subject and I kind of pushed for it and you're like, well, I don't know. And I just see them around. I don't know if I have a lot of good information on them. I don't know what my opinion is.
Okay.
I kind of both ways a little bit. But I thought it was worth, opening up the subject. And
So I'll ask this question. Since you don't know your opinion on it, I'm going to start with this question. Travis, I just bought the house next door to you on both sides and 2 across the street, and I'm turning them all into Airbnbs. Are you okay with that?
I'm going to the city council.
Okay.
So this is a great example.
Right?
All right. So it doesn't even need to be that extreme. Hey, how you doing? I'm Sam. Just bought the house next to you. Oh, yeah. It's great. We make great money on these short-term rentals. Excuse me? Oh, yeah. People are going to come here short-term.
Yep.
Okay. Well, I can speak from experience. Can you believe that?
Yeah.
I
can too, because I go to them all the time. And I enjoy them.
No, that's going to one.
Yeah.
I lived next to one.
Okay.
Where do I live?
In Irvine.
How's that possible?
It's not legally.
It is.
Yeah.
Just stopped a month ago.
Okay.
So we got stuck in this situation where someone was VRBOing the house next to us. And so this is where it gave me a little bit of insight into this, because there's so many different aspects. And I just got back from a trip to Catalina with some friends. That whole island's basically VRBOs.
Yes.
So there's different times, places, and, I don't think that one answer is correct for this product, this
Correct.
idea. But I'll tell you, living next to it, let me give you my feedback on this really quickly. Ours was not a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
We had no issues. Not a lot of people coming to party. I mean, we're in Irvine and suburbia.
Right.
People are going to come to party. So we didn't have to deal with that. But even without that, just having a transient neighbor, it was going on for a year or two, I began to realize I've lost a neighbor. Like, I've lost an opportunity for community here.
Right.
And I got to the point where I'm like, I'm not even going to really talk to these people. I'm not going to ignore them, but I'm not going to go over with a plate of cookies or, try to endear them or anything.
Right.
Because they're going to be gone in like a super short period of time. So
Exactly.
It felt bizarre. And I didn't like that aspect of it at all.
It does change the dynamics of the community, and I can see that. And it's when I love to travel that way. It is more convenient. I love having the luxuries of basically home away, and it's much better than being in a hotel. But I also look at it, sometimes it's weird depending on where it is, because I tend to do my research when we are staying in them of what is around us. I like seclusion and things like that, because I feel just as weird going into the middle of a neighborhood and I feel like I'm invading somebody's privacy. It doesn't really feel at home. Definitely doesn't feel like the hotel stay and things of that nature. Weird to be vacationing, but everybody else is coming home at different times of the day. And, especially you're there on the weekend and they're all in their backyards. Last one we stayed at, guy had a full-on project going on in the backyard next door on the weekend, and it was Chainsaw City.
Oh, wow.
Not his fault. He's doing his thing, right? And it's not something that they can disclose in the thing. They don't know that he planned to cut a tree down that weekend. So, but I see your point to that on both sides, and you mentioned Catalina. That's a whole different boat there. I mean, most of the people that are going there are, but I still would even think there's some permanent residents there as well. And I'm wondering how they feel.
I'm sure there are some, but
yeah, there's not a lot, but there's still some, and I would wonder how they feel, with the majority of the surrounding areas being Airbnb. But
I think it's expected. It's it's a tourist destination. So if you live in any coastal area, if you live around any popular attraction, any big city, I don't know how much. I guess it's not that I don't have sympathy for you, but
Right.
I think there's an expectation of people want to be in those places. I mean, down in Newport Beach,
right.
people party down there. So I'm not sure how much different it is.
Yeah, but and see, yes and no. And you were mentioning, hey, you live in Irvine, and you wouldn't expect to have a particular crowd, but also we got to remember when people are coming in from out of town, distance is unknown. Although we're 2 cities or 3 cities over, we're still within 20 minutes at Disneyland. That's not a long way.
Yeah.
And so, hey, this Airbnb makes sense because our family's going to spend all weekend in Disneyland. This Airbnb makes sense because we're going to spend our week in Newport Beach or in Laguna Beach. It makes sense for all of those places, even though it's really not the same. And they don't get it when they're, and I've been on the other side of that where we're trying to plan a trip and we end up, this is close, but it's not the same when you get there. So, I don't know. Yeah. But overall, I mean, I feel like I'm interested to see where the industry goes because they are starting to tighten down. I mean, around us, another city just got mentioned, Laguna Hills around us. I was telling you about that before we went on the air. They just announced that they are banning your VRBs or Airbnbs, short-term rentals, whatever we want to call them, that just went into effect there recently. And we've had some other areas as well that they're just not allowed. So now how they enforce it, who knows? But
yeah. The one that I think might be a good model now that I'm thinking about it is I've been out to Temecula a number of times. They have those beautiful areas where they have basically like 5-acre minimums, and they have all these nice properties out there,
right?
Big houses, and they've turned a ton of them into VRBOs. They're great to stay at. 5 acres, you've got something going on.
Right.
You've got a volleyball net, or you've got a pool, or you got something outside that's really nice. And there, I believe they have like registration. Like we need to know who you are and where you are.
Right.
And there are rules, and so the outdoor hours, or the hours that you're allowed were acceptable of noise, are these. And I thought, well, that's kind of a nice compromise, right?
Right. It's almost like an expanded resort, basically.
Yeah.
So
it's a mini resort.
I guess, yeah, the other direction, almost like a mini resort where it's got those rules of a resort type thing.
Oh, good point.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. That's a good analogy.
So, and I saw one of those in Sedona. I was looking at heading back to Sedona on a trip, and I was looking, and I saw one of those. But theirs was the opposite. It was a tiny house camp, where every house on there is a tiny house, but the whole thing are the short-term vacation rentals. So
nice.
But it's an entire community.
Yeah, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
I like that.
So a little bigger than a hotel, but you've got all the necessities of life.
Yeah. Well, I understand as an owner, these things are fantastic, or generally are as an investment. I mean, every investment has its risks, and markets go up and down, and you got to be careful. But at least maybe the last 10 years, they've been on a real upward trend. And if you're willing to manage it, I think that's probably the biggest challenge with these, right? Is just the constant turnaround. You got to have a good crew to get in, clean it up, assess.
Yep.
Then you got the argument, someone broke a window covering isn't right, or, back and forth. And that seems like a challenge. I'm like, whoa, that seems like a lot to deal with. But I guess if the return's high enough and you got a good team.
Have you looked at your rating?
My rating?
Yeah, you get rated too when you go stay at these places.
Luckily, I've never been the one actually renting them. 'Cause we go with groups. So that's kind of like Uber. They do that as well.
Yeah, so you get a rating as well so that the other people can see. Yeah, it was.
Have you been kicked out? Are you noisy?
Exactly. And I just found out about this myself because a friend of ours was renting a place, and she said that she called on the place that they were setting up, and they were questioning her because she had never rented any. She had nothing on her account because she had always been a guest as well. So they were kind of questioning.
Yeah.
They gave her a few more questions to make sure everything was okay. But
That's funny.
yeah. So I didn't realize we were being rated as well. So
Yeah. That's actually not bad. I mean,
it's not. It's
a
not.
community communication board.
Right.
Which is good. I mean, it's not great for people who are going to be problematic, but it's good for the people that want to manage that.
It's good for the system. Yeah. It is good for the system. So anyway, from a perspective of dealing with it as an agent, so say an agent or a client walks into one of your agents and says, hey, I want to buy a VROB or a short-term rental in this particular area or community. Some things that the agent should be working on, obviously, besides the obvious of make sure that wherever you're showing them property, it's allowed.
Yeah. Is it legal? Do you know what you're getting into? Like, I would assess, is this something they heard on the internet and they're like, I want to do this?
Right.
Or is it someone that actually knows? Maybe has some down in San Diego and is coming up here and says, I want a few up here or whatever to, I've not only qualify the house and the area, but qualify the owner with what they're getting into. Because maybe you're not the best person to serve them if they don't know what they're doing and they need a lot of advice about that. So, but yeah, definitely the cities. What are the resources for that? I hate to put you on the spot like this because I really don't know. I guess maybe call the city and ask.
That's where I would start, is calling the city or finding somebody that's been doing it and starting to, it's important in our industry. We talk about, we had a podcast earlier, we're talking about whether or not we're becoming obsolete or not. And part of that conversation was, what value are we bringing? And that's one of those things where an agent needs to understand that if they don't know, they need to make sure that they're figuring out, and however they figure that out, if they're seeking help or advice from somebody that does know, and going to the right places to get this information so that they're not steering that client in the wrong direction. That's part of the job. And it's okay to be new at it, but it's not okay to be ignorant at it and pass that on to your client and get them into trouble.
Or wing it.
So anyway, I don't know what else to say about this.
All right, there we go.
I say we go plan a vacation.
Yes. That's what this whole talk has made me want to do.
So, in the comments down below, please let us know where you think we should go visit. If you've gone and visited there and you think we should go there, and I will look it up and I will go and I will then comment back and say, yes, I agree with you or I disagree. But I will go through the trouble of doing my research to figure it out so I can respond back intelligently.
Awesome.
Sweet.
All right.
Until next time.
Yes.
All right. Thank you, everybody. Like and subscribe, please.